Colin Watson, back live again with another red light rant. Post mostly advice from my 60s that I would now give my 24-year-old, 34-year-old, and 44-year-old self, and even 54-year-old self, since I'll be 64 here in 20 something days. So anyway, I'm gonna hop in. I'm gonna be consistent about this. Yesterday, I kind of talked about in my live. I talked about how to improve your relationships by being able to regulate your triggers and your nervous system and be able to identify the inner children in the room. And if you listen to that, I would go back and listen to that. If you're having any challenges in your relationships, friendships, with your family members, and you find yourself getting triggered a lot, or you find yourself triggering them a lot, you may want to listen to that. It'll definitely help you navigate your emotions and theirs. Today I want to talk about similar topic of how it affects you in the weight loss space. Since that's what my expertise is in, if you don't know me, I'm the #1 HD diet coach in the world. I created our advanced HD diet protocol, and you can't convince me otherwise. There's anything faster on the planet that actually transforms the composition and the overall wellness of the human body other than our advanced HD protocol. With that said, the majority of the people, just like statistically, 2 out of 10 people actually maintain their weight beyond the first year of releasing it or losing it. 80% gain it all back. And the reason why they gain it all back is not because the method they used failed, it's because they failed to understand and release the emotional dysregulation that they have when it comes to their emotional triggers and basically going to comfort themselves outside of themselves, i.e. food, alcohol, drugs, sex, you name it. So I want to talk about that because ultimately we got the fat loss game on lock. I can help anybody, any age, release as much body fat as they want, quickly, safely, and just faster than you ever thought. My passion is helping people maintain the results that they receive, because nothing's more frustrating than finally seeing yourself in really good shape and then watching it disappear. And the reason why it disappears is because you don't know how to regulate your emotions. Now, you may think I'm full of shit. How many times have you cheated on your diet because you were stressed out, angry, in fear, going through a shame cycle? How many times has someone else's emotions that triggered you, that you caused and blamed them for, made you go out and sabotage? How many times were you stressed out and you said, I just need a glass of wine? You get a glass of wine that turns to 2 and then 3 glasses of wine. Pretty sure you no longer are cognizant of what you're eating, and then you're choosing the bag of chips and the crap and you go down the rabbit hole. How many times is whatever diet program you've been on has been sidetracked because of an emotional state? And if you think about it, every time that you fail to achieve the goal that you had in front of yourself, if it's to lose 20 pounds or 100 pounds, it most likely was derailed because your inability to emotionally regulate yourself, right? What's up, Alex? See you here. LWR, see you here. Welcome, thank you. So I want to talk about that because ultimately everything touches everything. So the same emotions we talked about in your relationships and how you're being triggered, the inner child comes up and wants something. So people always say, I had these cravings and my body just needed carbs. So first of all, the body doesn't need carbs to survive. It does need protein, it does need water, and it does need fats, okay? It does need carbs. Carbs were brought into our diet. Now we can use carbs in order to build more lean muscle, keep our glycogen stores high so we can train harder, lift heavier. The carbs have a place in our diet, but they don't need it. Your body doesn't crave sugar. Your body doesn't crave, well, I'll take that one. If you're addicted to sugar, it will. But your body is not craving it, your mind is craving it. Your body doesn't crave chips, doesn't crave chocolate chip cookies. What it's actually craving is your inability to regulate your emotions, so you're trying to find something to distract you from the emotion that's present. Most emotions that come up that most people don't feel comfortable feeling, because as a child, if you grew up in like my era, if you cried, your parents asked you, why are you crying? And if you didn't understand or if they were annoyed by why you're crying, they said, stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about. or tell you to go to your room and you had a smile on your face. If you were sad, if you had, typical parent, in the beginning they would console you, but if you were too sad too long, their dysregulation came up. They were no longer willing to be able to be with your sadness, so they told you to stop being sad. If you were going through a shame cycle, they didn't understand that either. If you were afraid, they would coddle you for a while, and then if their regulation couldn't take it too much longer, then they'll tell you something to be afraid of, right? The boogeyman doesn't exist. Instead of acknowledging the fact that that's a real fear for you in your little tiny body, they told you to ignore it. After years and years and years of practicing ignoring your emotions, you no longer have any ability to regulate them. So when sadness comes up, fear comes up, pain comes up, shame comes up, you go outside of yourself to another human to soothe you, to food, alcohol, drugs, you name it. How do I know that? As I told you, I spent almost 20 years using cocaine as a way of coping. It's like, or if it was not cocaine, it was women. If it was not, it was always something outside of myself. Until I was able to go out to that, I was able to make better choices, right? And so I just wanted to bring this conversation to you because ultimately, like I said, if you don't know me, you don't know our protocol, you're here for the first time, you just subscribed or joined, or you just hear this or stumble across this. When it comes to releasing weight, that's the easy part. And I know you may not think, well, it hasn't been easy for you, but I'm telling you, the right system, the right program, you just simply follow it. You eat the food, you show up, you drink the water, you get enough sleep, you use our ACG hormone, your body's not hungry, you fucking lose weight. Half a pound to a pound and a half a day if you're a man or a woman, depending. Most men will lose the weight faster. The problem is your ability to succeed on the protocol or stick to it long enough or even keep the weight off long term has to do with this conversation. So I want more importantly want to give you this conversation, so no matter what diet you choose, no matter who you choose to help you get there, you'll understand, number one, why you keep quitting on yourself, and number two, how to stop doing that. And the only way to stop doing that is, number one, be willing to take personal responsibility, radical responsibility for your feelings. Like I said yesterday, if you find you're telling someone that they hurt your feelings, that they made you mad, that they did something to make you act and be the way you're being, you're pointing the finger, three more pointing back at you. That's an indication that you're the problem, not them. And what I mean by the problem, your ability to regulate your emotions and your nervous system is the problem, and you're wanting them to do something differently so you will feel better. Now think about that. If you just changed, I would feel better. How realistic is that? How many of you here have been in relationships where you kept waiting for the person to change and they never did? Or they may change temporarily because they're also dysregulated, and they change temporarily, you feel better, and they go right back to the way they were. How many has it happened to you? It's because you cannot make other people change. Now, what you can do is you can change yourself. You can actually show up differently. And what I was sharing with you yesterday, same thing with relationships. When you actually find your sovereign self and you realize that you're the one that's in control of your emotions and your feelings, you're the one that, with practice and techniques and understanding how to actually soothe your emotional nervous system in a way that if you want love, external love, you got to give yourself internal love. Like a mirror, not a window. That means whatever's reflecting back at you, if you can see someone and you can label them narcissist, jerk, asshole, amazing, beautiful, wonderful, if you can see it in them, that means it's in you. Like attracts like. So if you're pointing the finger and you have a narcissist boyfriend or narcissist girlfriend, just know that you're also part narcissist. If your boyfriend or girlfriend or wife or husband's a jerk, just know you're also a jerk. So when you start seeing the parts of you as a reflection, not as a way you looking out the window and watching someone else's behavior, you begin to understand that, I'm in control of my feelings, my destiny, my world, how my body's responding to this. If you're on your diet and all of a sudden you get stressed out and you go, I need a glass of wine, think about that. Why do you need something to calm you down when before you even had words, you automatically knew how to calm yourself down? Now, if you think that babies cry because they're sensitive to temperature, they know when they're hungry, and they know when they're cold, right? and they know when they're hurt, and they know when they have discomfort. Their only communication is to cry in order to, Mike Tyson, thank you. They cry in order to let you know that something needs to be taken care of, and you end up figuring it out. But they have, other than that, they're just pure essence. They don't have any opinions or ego or personality yet. We teach them that. So how you show up in the world right now is how you learned to show up with your parents or caregivers. No matter how wonderful your life was or how difficult it was, that's taught behavior. And so I want to drop this in here in my live. I got a few more minutes left. I got a new client call here in a few minutes. I just wanted to drop these little nuggets on you guys. If you catch them, great. If you pick them up, awesome. If they don't land on you, keep moving. It's okay. But I'm telling you right now, if your desire is not only to get in the best shape of your life, but stay in the best shape of your life, you will need to learn how to emotionally regulate. And that takes practice. And it takes practicing the techniques I told you yesterday in relationships. Who's in the room? If you feel the behavior of you pouting, you're silent, you get in an argument with your wife, you give her the silent treatment, and you walk away and you don't talk to her for a day, or vice versa, who's in the room? How old are you? No adult knows how to give somebody the silent treatment. That is an 8-year-old boy or girl going, I don't feel good, I'm upset, so I'm not gonna talk to you. So if you start paying attention to the people around you and yourself, and start realizing when you are acting 7, 5, 8, 16, there's all these old triggers that are coming up. And you can catch it and go, how old am I? I'm about 16 right now. Awesome. And if you can remember, a lot of us can't, if you can remember, what was the original moment in time that one trigger that your wife or husband or friend said to you that you got upset about, when was the first time that happened? Oh, I remember I was probably 12 when my friend at school said this, or my mom said this to me. A lot of people with weight problems is because their mother or father said, you're getting chubby. You think you need that cookie? And you made it mean something, and next thing you know, that was your thing. Or you were crying or sad or angry, and they gave you a cookie or food or ice cream in order to soothe you, and that became your new mechanism. So I'm gonna leave you with this, because I want you to practice these baby steps. I don't want to overload you with too much information. If you find yourself dysregulated, in dis-ease, angry, fearful, sad, rage, shame, feel that emotion come up, ask yourself, the first thing you want to ask yourself when you feel it come up is, who's in the room? How old am I in this moment? If you can lock in on that, and then the second most important question is to ask yourself, if you can remember when it was, the first time that happened, you felt that same feeling, ask yourself, what did you need? In that moment, when you were sad, angry, shameful, afraid, what did you need from your parent or caregiver? What did you want them to do for you? I just wanted them to give me a hug. I just wanted them to tell me it was gonna be okay. And you do that for you. If you start practicing, I don't care if you're a man or a woman, Victoria, I see you. If you're a man or a woman, if you don't care if you're 24, 54, 64 like me, if you start taking radical responsibility for your feelings and you start self-soothing instead of going outside of yourself for something else, you'll be able to not only release weight rapidly because you'll get rid of the trauma stuck in your fat cells. I watch people transform faster than anyone has ever seen because they're getting out the actual physical fat, but they're also getting the trauma tied to that fat, which is what comes back every time you gain the weight because you never released that trauma in the first place. If you start practicing, if you're on a protocol right now, if you're on my protocol right now, if you're on a diet right now, a nutrition plan right now, every time you start getting cravings or starting to want to cheat or your friend tells you, let's go have pizza, ask yourself who's in the room. And then give that inner child version of you what he or she needs and watch the temperature come down. Watch yourself learn how to navigate past these moments. See, perfect time. And you will realize that I got this just for today. I hope that lands. Thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate you. Namaste. I am 18. You even have a faster ability to adapt, learn these techniques and use them so you never have to go through the trauma that most of us have gone through our lives. I hope you have a good day. Talk to you soon. Peace.